What's up, everyone? This is Soul with another video, and you see, I told you if something cool were to happen, I would show up and quickly diddle with the hair and get something going. So it looks like, I guess, as an early Christmas gift, the WoW team is giving us an early preview of what we can expect from hero talents in the upcoming War Within expansion. This is a fresh look. I haven't looked at this at all. I have no idea what's going on in the as we scroll down. So if you don't mind, like the video, subscribe for more stuff, and let's take a look at what's going on. The War Within expansion introduces hero talents as a new update to World of Warcraft classes. They're an evergreen form of character progression for each class specialization that introduces new powers and class fantasies. Feedback is critical to us as part of creating an impactful and fun addition to the game, so we're sharing our goals for hero talents with the community to get first impressions of them and learn how well we're meeting those goals. And that's why we're here. Yay! So what are hero talents? Hero talents are a new self-contained talent trees that players unlock. They access it at level 71. Hero talents build on the abilities and talents of current classes and specializations. Players can choose a single hero talent tree to activate on a character, and these talents can be changed in the same way class talents can be currently changed in the game. This is all stuff that we know so far. There are 3 hero talent trees for each class, excepting Druid with 4 and Demon Hunter with 2. So, at least as far as we know, no new specs for Demon Hunters. Sorry, guys. Each specialization has 2 hero talent trees they can choose between, and each of these trees is available as an option for 2 specializations. For example, Warriors have 3 hero talent tree options: Slayer, Colossus, and Mountain Thane. Fury has access to Mountain Thane and Slayer. Protection has access to Mountain Thane and Colossus, and Arms has access to Colossus and Slayer. So, like I said, this is all kind of new information. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not very new information, but we'll just kind of go over it together so that way we're all on the same page, notably me, because I'm probably going to forget stuff. So let's say I'm a Protection Warrior. I'm going to get access to those 2 trees, and I can start playing around with them. I guess I could choose one and then get something, or I can choose Mountain Thane and then, put points into those. If I happen to be Arms, I could also get access to that Colossus thing, this Colossus tree, and or the Slayer tree. So it just kind of depends on what you have. And then, of course, the shape will be a little bit different for Druids. And I guess Demon Hunters will, maybe they'll always get the same thing, kind of, sort of. I'm not sure. It might be similar to that. So there are 11 nodes in a hero talent tree. So each of these are trees. So there's 11, 11, 11, something like that. The first of these unlocks with the system at level 71, and you earn 1 talent point per level from level 71 to 80. So you get every talent in the tree by level 80. Hero talents will have starter builds available, and your saved builds will save your hero talent choices as well. So this is the example that we got. It's 9, we got 11 things, and this is the Keeper of the Grove particular tree. So it means that when we're at max level, once we get to level 80, it's not so much a matter of, okay, I'm going to be a protection person, I'm going to put in Colossus, and I'm going to choose Colossus, and I'm going to customize my points. It's just kind of an either or thing. So this sort of brings me back to, you guys remember in Warlords of Draenor? During Warlords of Draenor, there were leveling perks that you got depending on your class or spec. So for example, at one point, just from leveling, a Protection Paladin would get the ability for their Avenger Shield to hit 5 targets up from 3. And that was just the thing that you got. So I guess what I'm seeing is kind of the same thing, but instead there are 2 different kinds of tracks that you can choose from, and then you just kind of choose between one or another. So the choice is between 2 things, not so much, oh, let me put this point here. Actually, no, let me take that back. Because I forgot that there are choice nodes here that you can also customize. So not as simple as I'm saying. See, that's why I'm going over this with you, so that way I can correct myself. All right, so what to expect from hero talents. Each hero talent tree starts with a keystone talent that introduces the core mechanic and concept of the tree. This could be a new ability, an enhancement to an existing ability or cooldown, or a new buff that you can trigger. The bottom talent of each tree is a capstone talent that builds on the core themes of the tree or adds new power to the keystone, as in the top thing. Each tree will offer or modify some class utility and include defensive bonuses that are useful to all specializations. We're aiming for all trees to be about equal in the amount of utility and defensiveness that they provide. Trees for characters that can take on a tanking role may have some additional defensive bonuses that will be less valuable to healers or damage dealers, such as bonuses to tank talents or cooldowns. 3 or 4 nodes in each tree will be choice nodes where you can choose between the two options. So you saw like there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of those nodes right there. Hero talents are meant to add enough damage or healing throughput to be significant without being so important that these new talents overshadow your current class and spec tree talents. Most hero talent trees add new visual effects to classes, both to communicate what they're doing and bring their class fantasies to life. However, these are not complete visual reworks. Your class and spec are still the same at their core, and that will continue to come through. So that was kind of like one of the early asks from fans, like, oh my god, if I choose to be a mountain thing, are all my abilities going to look different? And apparently it is not. There might be like some signature changes here and there between a mountain thing, a colossus, and a slayer. So, oh well. Maintaining freedom to choose. We want players to be free to choose the hero talent tree that has the gameplay, visuals, or flavor that they prefer. Our goal is for both options to feel similarly effective in raid dungeons, Raid, Mythic Plus, and PvP. We're working to avoid abilities or bonuses in hero talents that could make a certain tree feel required for activities where we can. Good luck with that. We know that for some players, prioritizing total throughput is the most important thing to them, even if the difference between choices seems small. That's okay, but keeping hero talent balance close is one of our priorities so that players can play what they prefer and still be viable in any content. Again, good luck. But at the very least, it's not going to feel like Covenant, where you have a very, it's very restrictive. You couldn't really like just swap out choices, but in this case, just like talents, you can. How we chose hero talents concepts. Since we announced hero talents at BlizzCon, it's been great to see all the conversation and speculation surrounding the 39 hero talent titles. We'd like to share some of the thinking that went behind choosing these concepts. Each hero talent concept must be appropriate for both the specs that can use it. Some concepts build on overlaps in abilities or flavors between the two specs that can use it, like Colossus Warriors, which are as mighty as Arms Warriors and as imposing as Protection Warriors. Others create new themes that are appropriate for both sides, like Fate-bound Rogues, whatever that means. Hero talents also retain your combat role and the gear that you use so that you're not competing for new types of gear. For iconic World of Warcraft character archetypes, we wanted to be sure that we could deliver on their fantasy with WoW's classes. Blade Masters just wouldn't be Blade Masters without abilities like Windwalk and Mirror Image, but those abilities don't fit in a warrior's toolkit. Bummer. Lastly, there are several iconic character archetypes that are strongly tied to specific races and factions, such as Keeper of the Grove or Mountain Thane. It's exciting to embody these storied archetypes, but we want to ensure that characters of every race and faction can see themselves as those archetypes. We're open to feedback on what feels good for your characters versus what is frustrating. So by that, they're talking about, no, a Keeper of the Grove is like the horse-looking dude, looks like Cenarius. It can't be a cow dude. It can't be a troll dude. And same thing would go for like a mountain thing that heavily implies dwarves. But wait, you're telling me that gnomes can do it too? Yes. Let's move on. Gameplay and hero talents. We have several goals for what it feels like to play World of Warcraft with hero talents. Here are some of our guiding principles for how they affect your capabilities, your rotation, what you pay attention to in combat, and your user interface. We like to see on the team that our goal for hero talents gameplay is for them to make you what you are, but more. We know that many of you have long histories with your favorite classes, and you play them because you like the gameplay and the spells and abilities that matter in the rotation, whether it's the spinning plates of affliction, the cycles of arcane, or the frantic reactivity of fury. Hero talents don't override what matters to a class. You should feel like you're playing your spec with a twist or a boost, and not as if the things you care about have become unimportant or have been replaced. A hero talent tree might add new behavior or bonuses to an existing ability, like Keeper of the Grove's bonuses to Force of Nature and Grove Guardian treants. They might occasionally reset the cooldown on abilities or replace spells with more powerful versions. They might make it easier to maintain important buffs or grant additional resources at key moments. One thing we're keeping a close eye on is complexity. Classes in WoW have a lot of abilities and talents, and there's a lot to learn about each one. We want hero talents to add new fun without creating new burdens, either in customizing or playing a character. Most hero talent trees do not add new buttons that players will need to add to their action bar and find a new keybind for. There will be additional opportunities for players to express their skill, but we're not trying to add things like complex maintenance buffs that increase the cognitive load for everyone playing a class. Most of the choices a player will make about how complex they want their rotation to be will continue to be made in their class and spec talent trees. Some hero talents do require you to take certain talents in your class or spec trees to access their powers. Let me reread that because I'm like, Some hero talents do require you to take certain talents in your class or spec trees to access their powers. This is often because these talents fit the flavor and theme of that specific hero talent tree. The Mountain Thane Warrior tree enhances Avatar and Thunderclap. Templar Paladin gives extra power to Wake of Ashes, and Elune's Chosen Druids can cast a particularly strong Fury of Elune. However, a hero talent tree will only ever require or enhance a small number of class or spec talents. It's important to us that there's still freedom in customizing your class build. It's just the suggestion of that though, just having something like that though, it kind of compels me to first look in that direction and then have my decision making be based on, okay, do I go with what seems iconic and what seems to fit? And then if not, then I branch out. But then I end up being, I don't know, I guess mentally I'm gravitated towards those choices first. And I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but if anything, if there's like something that is really iconic, like they're saying with Keeper of the Grove, Mountain Thane, stuff like that, then not having it would also feel really jank. So all right, show us the hero talent trees. Over the coming months, we'll be sharing full designs for hero talent trees from War Within. We're excited to hear what you think of them. We're starting things off by sharing the first set of trees here. Below, you'll find the hero talents for the Sandlane Death Knights, Chronowarden Evokers, Lightsmith Paladins, and Mountain Thane Warriors. Whatever the hell that means. So let's take a look at these. Only 4 specs. All right, so specializations for Sandlane Death Knights are Blood and Unholy, so tanky and DPSy. Sandlane are Death Knights who have mastered... If I'm mispronouncing this, by the way, I'm going to say Sandlane, and if you hate me for it, I apologize in advance. They're Death Knights who have mastered the vampiric arts of the Darkfallen. They consume the vitality of their enemies to protect and restore themselves. Their endless hunger only strengthens them. So it's like... When you spec for this, your ears get longer and, well, whatever. All right, so here are the 11 talents, and they sit right here, and we're just going to go over all 11 things. So at its core is Vampiric Strike. Your Death Coil and Death Strike have a 10% chance to make your next Heart Strike or Scourge Strike become Vampire Strike. Vampire Strike heals you for 3% of your max health and grants you Essence of the Blood Queen, increasing your haste by 1.5% up to 7.5% for 20 seconds. So 20 second buff, Death Coil and Death Strike have a 10% chance. I feel like the uptime on that is going to be like really good unless there's like some sort of like internal cooldown. So this does feel like a bump up. Like you're going to use this or you're going to have this thing active, regardless. So that's cool. And then, yeah, I guess I'll read through these and then maybe we'll do another pass at like the choice nodes and then we'll see what we can play with there. So this is a choice node here. Newly turned, raise ally, revives players at full health, and grants you the caster an absorption shield equal to 20% of your maximum health. That's kind of okay. Death's Advance and Wraith Walk movement speed bonuses are increased by 10%. Nice. Activating Death's Advance or Wraith Walk increases for nearby allies' movement speed by 20% for 5 seconds. Oh, so that's kind of cool for like a dungeon thing. Very different choices, though. It's really like a either-or situation. Blood-soaked ground. While you're within your death and decay, your safe zone, your physical damage taken is reduced by 5%, and your chance to gain vampiric strike is increased by 5%. So now it becomes 15%. A bit more uptime. Hell yeah. This will be like the level 72 choice that I feel like I'd want to make. Vampiric Aura. Ooh, is it coming back? Your leech is increased by 3%. While Lichborn is active, the leech amount is increased by 100%, and it affects 4 nearby allies. That's cute. Blood, and this is a choice between here and Bloody Fortitude. Icebound Fortitude reduces all damage you take by up to an additional 30% based on your missing health. Nice. Killing enemies that reduce that grant honor experience. Okay, so that's kind of cool as like a PvP questing dungeon sort of thing. Maybe dungeon, maybe not. I'd probably go for a Vampiric Aura though. Infliction of Sorrow. When Vampiric Strike damages an enemy. So I guess it's important to point out that these push down too. Yeah. So you can't exactly just like, oh, I want this one, and then now I want this one. You're gonna have to like go down the tree. So that's going to be interesting. Infliction of Sorrow. When Vampiric Strike damages an enemy, Vampiric Strike, the main thing, when it damages an enemy affected by blood or virulent plague, it consumes the disease, dealing more damage. When Gift of the Silent is active, Vampiric Strike no longer consumes your disease and it instead extends the duration of the disease and deals 20% of the remaining damage to also more damn. Frenzied Bloodthirst. Essence of the Blood Queen stacks 2 additional times. And increases the damage of your Death Coil and Death Strike by 5% per stack. Wait, so this gives me like a little bit more haste, and it stacks 2 additional times, so up to 3 times. Dude, I want to take this middle thing, because that thing seems dope. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, the Blood is Life. Vampiric Strike has a chance to summon a Blood Beast to attack your enemy for 10 seconds. Pets. Okay, I don't know what I want anymore. I mean, we're going to get them all. So that's going to be cool. You're going to have like all these Death Knights being like, yeah, blah, 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 just going all over the place. So that's going to be kind of cool. Anyway. Each time the Blood Beast attacks, it stores a portion of the damage dealt, and when the Blood Beast dies, it explodes, dealing 50% of the damage accumulated to nearby enemies and healing the Death Knight for the same amount. Not bad. All right, so and now we're going down to more visceral regeneration. Your Heart Strike and Scourge Strike have a 3% per stack of essence of the Blood Queen to refund a rune. So I guess there's 1 stack here, and then so this is up to like 3 stacks, so up to 9%. I guess, and that's pretty good. That's a 9% chance to get a free thing. Vampiric Strike doubles the chance to refund a rune. So okay, that's some layered stuff. So whenever Vampiric Strike is going, I have a 10% chance. Okay, that's kind of a lot, but basically, you get better rune regeneration. That's kind of neat. Incite Terror. Heart Strike and Scourge Strike extend the duration of Essence of the Blood Queen by 0.5 seconds. Vampiric Strike increases the extension by 100%, so even more uptime. And here's another choice note. Sanguine Scent. Your Death Coil and Death Strike have a 15% chance to trigger Vampiric Strike when damaging enemies below 35% health, and it's guaranteed to critically strike. Execute stuff. Nice. And then Pact. You store 50% of all shadow damage dealt into your Blood Beast to explode for additional damage when it expires. Oh, that's pretty big. So it kind of depends here. Like, yeah, I'm not quite sure what I want to choose here. Gotta sim it, I guess. And then finally, Gift of the Silent. While Vampiric Blood or Dark Transformation is active, you gain Gift of the Silent. The gift increases the effectiveness of the Essence of Blood Queen by 100% and replaces your Heart Strike and Scourge Strike with Vampiric Strike for the duration. I'm not entirely familiar with the length of Vampiric Blood or Dark Transformation, but that's a lot. So you're getting that thing powering up, and you're getting your rune regeneration, that's going to be going, this is all by the time you're max level. Your rune regeneration stuff is going up. There's a lot of stuff. These are a lot of things to consider that are happening. And it's all based on like this one, mostly this one ability. The choice nodes, don't quite affect it very much, but there's a lot that happens. So you can kind of think, this kind of gives that early impression that with War Within, while we're not necessarily seeing, we're getting, super brand new talent rows in our current trees and we're getting all these new abilities, we're seeing these big enhancements that feel like it makes our current class as it is that much more potent in new and different ways. So I feel like this initial impression feels pretty good. Now keep in mind that this particular spec is something that Unholy and Blood will be able to pick up. Frost is going to be able to pick up other things entirely. They won't be able to get access to this particular tree. But there's also the Deathbringer and the Rider of Apocalypse specs or trees to look at too. And I'm going to be really curious about this. I'm like, is this going to be like really, really like pet centric or ghoul centric? That could be kind of cool. Let's see. These are, looks like these are just descriptions of everything. That's cool. I guess for people who are on like their phones or whatnot that can't really see it very well. So I'm cool with that. Let's move on to mages, shall we? No, this is a augmentation, and this is an Augvoker and Prevoker sort of spec. The Chronowarden Evoker. So Chronowardens can manipulate time and see into the future. By specializing in bronze magic, they are slightly unstable due to the vast knowledge available to them. They're precise, erudite, and organized individuals who seek to understand the world through careful study. It's like reading like someone's, are you a Gemini? Oh my God, Geminis are like totally like erudite people. Anyway. Let's start off with the cap. And this time I'm going to go like straight to the bottom, just so we can see like the progression of going down one particular tree as opposed to, going wide. So Chronoflame. Living Flame is enhanced with bronze magic, repeating 15% of the damage or healing you dealt to the target in the last 5 seconds as arcane up to a fixed amount. So not really a crit, just kind of like some free damage. It's okay. I wonder if it stacks, right? I wonder if it becomes like a thing that sort of stacks. You refresh it, kind of, or does it not just stack, but it at least like compounds upon itself, maybe. So let's start off with the left side. Warp. Hover now warps you through time and space, and its cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. Hover continues to allow evoker spells to be cast while moving. So it warps you through time and space. Does it actually teleport you and stuff? I mean, it's called warp, so I mean, why not? But yeah, it sort of tells me it's kind of like a blink. But you also get the benefits of moving while casting. Okay. Interdimensional phase. Warp reduces damage taken by 30%, starting high and reducing over 2 seconds. I'm not on top of like what the cooldown on hover is, but that's a cool little survivability option. And modes of acceleration. Warp leaves a trail of modes of acceleration. Allies who come in contact with a mode gain 20% increased movement speed for 30 seconds. I'm pretty greedy. I'm probably never going to take this. Sorry, comrades, but it's not like I play an Evoker anyway. And then careful contemplation. Your intellect and stamina are increased by 10%, but your cooldowns are increased by 10%. Indeed, careful contemplation. What would you choose? Would you want longer cooldowns? Would that be okay? I guess depending on the fight, like right. If depending on the fight, like it works out, then you're fine. Or if you have extreme amounts of haste, I don't know if that would really count for anything. The other choice is time convergence. Abilities with a 45-second or longer cooldown grant 10 intellect for 15 seconds. Defensive abilities grant 10% stamina for 15 seconds. Essence spells extend the duration by 1 second. That's not bad. Yeah, it's very passive. Contemplation would definitely feel like it affects you. Time convergence, I don't know. You don't exactly. I would say that you don't exactly base your rotations or your cooldown management based on something like this. It's just like free throughput or free survivability, I guess. All right, let's go down the middle here. Temporal Burst. Tip the scales. Overloads you with temporal energy, increasing your haste, movement speed, and cooldown rates every by 2%, ramping up over 40% over 20 seconds. All right, cool. Threads of Fates. Casting an Essence ability during Temporal Burst causes a nearby ally to gain a Thread of Fate for 15 seconds, granting them a chance to echo their damage to... Oh, okay, so they get a chance for... That's kind of cool. And then here's a choice node. Master of Destiny. Empower spells amplify all your active Threads of Fate, increasing their power by 100% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. Or Prescience has a 25% chance to not incur a cooldown. Echo has a 25% not to cost Essence. I'm not a big Evoker person ever, but I wonder if Prescience is... like, what's the uptime on this now? Would this actually be compelling for someone? Finally, on the right hand side, Spirit Bloom heals for Spirit Bloom. So this is preservation and augmentation. Okay, Spirit Bloom heals for an additional 30% over 8 seconds. Cool. Upheaval deals 30% additional damage over 8 seconds. All right, nice and simple. Primacy. For each damage or healing over time effect from Upheaval or Spirit Bloom, gain 3% haste up to 9%. Also nice and easy. Each time you cast an Empower spell, Unstable Time Magic reduces its cooldown by up to 15 seconds. Not very exciting stuff on this side here. And then finally, at the very bottom, After Image. Empower spells send up to 3 Chrono Flames to your targets. Chrono Flames have a small chance to grant you Essence Burst. Didn't feel nearly as exciting as the Death Knight one, but maybe it's just my total lack of comprehension with how evokers work. So I'm not like super like, whoa, but I think this does feel like a marked improvement over the current, it's adding things. All right. So that's all the descriptions. All right, now for the greatest class of them all. So Lightsmith. Lightsmiths are paladins who have developed such masterful control over the light that they are able to wield it tangibly, employing constructs to empower their weapons and defenses and to protect their allies. So Lightsmith is a holy prot thing. And here's the really big opener. Holy armaments. Active, it says. Will the light to coalesce and become... Oh, so it's an actual ability. You will the light to coalesce and become manifest at a target location as a holy armament, which may be wielded by you or your allies. Alternates between holy bulwark and sacred weapon. Lasts 20 seconds after being cast. Max 2 charges. So you spawn a thing, and do they need to like grab it? I guess. Oh. While wielding the Holy Bulwark, gain an Absorb Shield for 15% of your maximum health and an additional 5% every 2 seconds, stacking up to 30%. While holding it, you gain the Absorb Shield for, that much health, and it becomes more. Or you pick up Sacred Weapon. While wielding the Sacred Weapon, your spells and abilities have a chance to deal additional holy damage or healing. So, you manually hit it, right? And it's kind of like a Blessing of Summer where you end up using both. So I wonder what the cooldown of this thing is. I mean, it has charges to it, so I would want to put it down at opportune times and then just lay it down. And do I just stand on it and be like, bulwark me in the face, buddy? And I'll just, I'm just on it. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what to think about it. I mean, historically, things like this have been like, I don't know. You think of something like Lightwell or Lightspring or whatever, and back in the day when people had to click on it, and people were like, I don't know, dude. And I was just talking smack about, I think, one of the Evoker abilities where you had to run on top of a thing in order to get like a buff, as if it was like one of those speed feathers or something. And yeah, I'm not too. I'm not sure. But oh well. Let's start with the left side. Rite of Sanctification. Imbue your weapon with the power of the light, increasing your armor by 5% and primary stat by Actually, let's look at this again. Imbue your weapon with the power of the light, increasing your armor by 5% and primary stat by 1%. Last 1 hour, weapon imbue. So it's just a plain weapon enchant of sorts. Yeah, I'll take 1%. Or you take the Rite of Agitation. Imbue your weapon with the power of the light, increasing your stamina by 3%, and causing your holy power spenders to sometimes unleash a burst of healing around a target. I'm picking up that one. Sorry. Because hopefully it'll unleash a burst of healing around my target, which is in front of me, which will be healing me. So yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer for me. Laying down arms. When an armament fades from you, the cooldown of lay on hands is reduced by 15 seconds, and you gain Shining Light or Infusion of Light. Oh, that's cool. Wow, so I'm going to get lots of free Words of Glories, or, Flashes of Light. That's kind of neat. And remember, this is a Holy Prot sort of thing. Shared Resolve. The effect of your active aura is increased by 33% on targets with your armament. Okay, yeah, that's not bad. I'd love to see something change with Consecration Aura. Concentration Aura, because that's kind of boring. All right, so Solidarity. If an ally picks up an armament, you also gain its benefits. If you pick up an armament, a nearby ally also. Okay, so this definitely encourages, people to be like, all right, I'm laying down the stuff, laying down the goods, picking up. So I wonder, Lightsmith clearly feels like a support-ish sort of, a support sort of thing. For melee, it's going to be easy. For anyone else, it's going to be like, do I need to go all the way over there to like pick up the stuff? That's going to be kind of a pain. But unless there are like limits, I wonder if the max 2 charges means there's a maximum of how many I can lay down within a period, or are there only 2 charges? Like only 2 people can pick up the Holy Bulwark. So, oh well. We'll just have to see. Moving down, Divine Inspiration. Your spells and abilities have a chance to manifest a holy armament nearby. Oh. So am I am I just gonna be like bloop, bloop? Yeah, am I just gonna be I'm straight up dropping power-ups. This is what it is. I'm like the power-up bot. Alright? I'm a power-up bot. Dude, power-ups are down. Go get them, guys. And then they're going to be like, oh, let's go get it. And then they run into fire or something like that. But yeah, this is what it feels like. I am probably going to pick up Divine Inspiration, though, because passive. Valiance. Consuming Shining Light or Infusion of Light extends the duration of any armaments by 3 seconds or reduces the cooldown by 3 seconds if none exist. Okay. So this Lightsmith thing is very big on like the power-ups. Let's look at the right side. Divine Guidance. For each holy power ability cast, your next consecration does additional holy damage or healing split across all enemies up to a fixed total. The fixed total is something I'm curious about, but hey, I'm cool with more healing. That's neat. The other choice is casting a Holy Spender increases the damage and healing of your next Crusader Strike, Blessed Hammer, or Hammer of the Righteous by 100%. I don't find this to be very reliable though. So I gotta cast a spender, and that's gonna change my behavior a little bit because I'm gonna be casting a spender, and then I pretty much feel as if I have to actually no, these are just builders. Yeah, this actually just doesn't feel great because it's not much. Hammer of the Righteous, Blessed Hammer, Crusader Strike from Prot Holy, that ain't much. I'd like it to do a little bit more. Like, give me this, and then on top of that, the damage that it deals heals nearby allies or something like that. That'd be kind of neat. Moving down to another choice note. Fear no evil. While wielding an armament, the duration of fear effects is reduced by 50%. PvP stuff. Cool. And then there's Excoriation. Enemies within 5 yards of Hammer of Justice's target are slowed by 15%. Neither of these feel like that cool. I mean, this is the stun, by the way. So you stun a target, and then other nearby dudes are also slowed by not very much. 15% is, it's fairly insignificant. I'd probably consider the fear one depending on the fight. Otherwise, I would just sit on the excoriation and then just leave it alone forever because, frankly, it's not really going to do all that much. I'd like it to do more. Hammer and Anvil. Judgment critical strikes cause a shockwave around the target, dealing additional holy damage or healing at the target's location. Oh, so that's just free. That's easy free deeps. Cool. And then finally, Blessing of the Forge. Avenging Wrath summons an additional sacred weapon, and during Avenging Wrath, your sacred weapon casts spells on your target and echoes the effects of your holy power ability. It's like the Death Knight one. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically like that, and that's kind of cool. So yeah, I'm looking at this like it's a power up support sort of hero spec. That's kind of neat. As protection, I definitely want to see what Templar has to offer, right? But this is interesting. Jury's still out, but depending on how they implement this, like it'd be kind of cool. It's going to be really dependent again though on people being able to pick up these power ups. Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be like a big pain in the butt? Because that's going to make a big difference. And finally, we got Warriors. And we're looking at the Mountain Thane, who is either a Prot or a Fury Warrior. Lightning Strikes. Damaging enemies with Thunderclap, Revenge, Raging Blow, or Execute, that's a lot, has a 10% chance to strike one with a Lightning Bolt dealing moderate nature damage. Lightning Strikes occur 50% more often during Avatar. So does that mean it's a 60% chance, or does it mean it's a 15% chance? Because, whenever they add those sorts of, additive bonuses, it's hard to tell sometimes. Let's start out with the left-hand side. Call of Thunder. Storm Strike or nature damage your enemies deal is increased. That seems like weird wording. Damage your abilities deal is increased by 5%. Storm Strike damage ignores armor. Why does it say Storm Strike? Maybe I'm not enough of a prot warrior. I can understand this though. Thunderclap damage increased by 50%. That's a nice, easy boost. Fury, Storm Strike or nature damage. Thunderclap increases blah blah blah, and it more damage and gives rage. Improved Whirlwind and Meat Cleaver now improve Thunderclap as well as Whirlwind. Not quite on top of the talent, but that sounds good. Thunderblast. Oh, this one makes sense. Shield Slam and Bloodthirst have a 20% chance to grant you Thunderblast, stacking up to 2 charges, where your next Thunderclap becomes a Thunderblast that deals Storm Strike damage. Is this like a new damage type that I'm just not familiar with? Maybe. Steadfast as the Peaks. Victory Rush now increases your maximum health by 10% for 5 seconds. That's not bad for survivability. And Thunderblast reduces damage you take by 4% for 5 seconds. I want to say that's better, but between this and Spell Reflect, it's like, oh, they already have like a lot of coverage. So I'm not quite sure which thing I would take. I mean, Victory Rush feels like more like a oh snap sort of button. I'd probably keep your feet on the ground. All right, Ground Current. Lightning Strikes now also deal low damage to enemies near their targets. Damage is reduced beyond the 5 targets. So just expect a lot of easy nature damage. Storm Shield. Intervening on a target grants them a shield for 5 seconds that absorbs magic damage equal to 3 times your armor. That's kind of okay. I know that. I guess it's one way for warriors to add a little bit more utility. I mean, they already have some great utility, but this adds like a little personal touch whenever they get an opportunity to use Intervene. Stormbolt also hits 2 additional nearby targets. Oh, dude, they get like a cleave stun. Oh, that's boss, man. Yeah, on top of their other CC, that's strong. That is really strong. I would definitely take that for like for like doing keys and stuff. It's like, I got 2 casters. What do I do about them? Stun them both. Haha. So yeah, that's a winner for me. And then Gathering Clouds. Your attacks trigger lightning strikes 15% more often. Cool. Or Thorm's Might, where lightning strikes also generate rage. Revenge, Rage and Blow, and Execute damage is increased by 15%. I feel like that's, unless you're like spamming things like Ignore Pain, or if you've got like this really good string and you're pumping rampages out or something like that, that seems cool. Yeah. I think I'm tempted to get that more than Gathering Cloud. Gathering Clouds just looks cool because there might be some cool lightning looking effects, and that might be neat. And that might be what they're talking about with like thematic visual changes, where now if you happen to pick up Mountain, then you're just like, you're going to see a lot of lightning coming from that particular warrior, where a Slayer might look different, or a Colossus might look different. So anyway, Strength of the Mountain. Shield Slam damage is increased by 20%. Bloodthirst and Rampage damage increased by 10%. Nice and easy. Flashing Skies. Chance for lightning strikes to critically strike is increased by 5%, and their critical strike damage is increased by 10%. Nice, kind of okay. Lightning strikes reduces the cooldown of Ravager by 0.5 seconds, so anyone who's picking that up, this is an easy choice to make. And you will be able to set up new loadouts. My hope is that with what's coming in War Within, that they consider adding a lot more potential loadouts. I know that there are add-ons that cover it, but being able to store that sort of stuff server-side is extremely valuable in my opinion, and they have to just increase that despite whatever storage issues that they might have. Anyway, Burst of Power. Lightning strikes have a 20% chance to make your next 2 shield slams or bloodthirst have no cooldown. Oh, that's good. I mean, with the current set bonuses for warriors, Fury Warriors, that's pretty good. And then finally, Avatar of the Storm. Casting Avatar grants you 2 charges of Thunder Blast and resets the cooldown of Thunderclap. While Avatar is not active, lightning strikes have a 10% chance to grant you Avatar for 4 seconds. Now, I wonder if that kind of like that loops around. So if it's passive, if I get a passive Avatar proc, does it then give me the 2 charges of Thunder Blast and reset the cooldown and all that stuff? Because then that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. And that is all 4 specs. And that's only 4 out of like the 39 that we're going to see over the next couple months or so. Maybe not until, maybe we'll see it when we get closer to like beta and stuff, alpha and beta and all that. But these have been pretty cool so far. I like what they're trying to do here. Of course, what they intend and what the actual outcome is anyone's guess. But at least at the moment, I kind of like this. I kind of like what they're doing here. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Of course, leave a like, comment, all that stuff. And I hope you guys have a happy holiday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.